What's up, homies? Welcome back to JoMaine's kitchen. Today you are in for a treat because I am making chocolate chip cookies in celebration of National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. Yes, if you follow me on social media, at josephpruiz on everything. These are the cookies that I normally put in our vanilla ice cream for our dessert and sometimes my dinner. I'm extra excited about this video because I made some of these cookies a couple of days ago, and then I remembered I had to film this video, and so I was gonna have extra cookies, so I decided to be nice, and I gave some to my nieces, and then they took them home, made them, and I got a text message that said, and I quote, "They are so good." So I told them I would make this video super easy so that they and my homies at home, you, can make them too. So let me tell you what you're gonna need. All right, so like I said, super easy. What we're gonna need for this recipe is 1 stick or half a cup of butter, 2 eggs, and we want our 2 eggs and the half a stick of butter at room temperature, okay? I normally take mine out about 1 hour to 2 hours before I'm gonna make my cookies. Then we'll also need 2 cups of flour. We'll need 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla, along with 1 teaspoon of salt and 1 teaspoon of baking soda. And then here we have half a cup of granulated sugar and 1 cup of brown sugar. Got it? Let's go. And then also I have my stand mixer here. You don't really need one. You can do this recipe by hand too, but this makes it easier for me, so I like easy. What I normally like to do and what we're gonna do later in this video is I'm gonna scoop them out with my cookie scoop, put them in the freezer, and then we have cookies for as long as I allow them to be in my freezer, which is not very long. All right, so let's make these cookies. I'm gonna connect my paddle to my stand mixer here, and then now that that's done, I'm gonna take my butter, mix this up. I like to do this for a good 2 minutes, so I'm gonna let it run, and then I'll show you the next step. All right, so it's been about 2 minutes. I had it on 2 speed, just because I heard last time my instructions weren't that great. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna just scrape down the sides pretty fast. All right, so now that I have creamed my butter a little bit, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my half a cup of granulated sugar, all of it. And then I'm just gonna let that run for another like minute or 2. All right, so it's been about 1.5 minutes. I'm gonna go ahead and turn this bad boy off here. And now I'm gonna add in my brown sugar. And then, you guessed it, gonna go ahead and let that mix for about 1 minute or 2. Then we're gonna go ahead and crack in our eggs. All right, so at this point, I like to, again, turn off my mixer here. As you can see, this is what it's currently looking like. So I'm gonna scrape that down a little. Our next step, we're gonna go ahead and add in our 2 eggs. I'm getting so much better at this, JoMaine. That's 1. And no shell in that one either, boom. So, I'm gonna go ahead, turn this bad boy on. I do this at 2 speed for about another minute, maybe 2. And then, next step. All right, so I'm gonna just lower this down to number 1, and I'm gonna go ahead and add in my 1.5 teaspoons of vanilla. Let that mix for about another minute or so. So now, I'm gonna, you guessed it, show you what this looks like at the moment. But I'm also going to scrape down the bowl because we're about to add in our flour. All right, so now that I have scraped down the inside of this bowl, I'm gonna go ahead and add about 1 cup, which is half of my flour here. And I'm guesstimating here. Yeah, that's about right. And I'm gonna let that spin around. And I don't wanna put all of it in there at once because it'll just poof, and we don't want that. I would rather just a little. So let's hope for the best. If you're my niece and your mom gets mad at you for making a mess, maybe you want to do this. JoMaine does this sometimes. He'll cover this. Make sure it's locked. Turn it on number 1 so that it doesn't go everywhere. Perfect. All right, so while that's mixing around, I'm gonna go ahead and add in my 1 teaspoon of salt, 1 teaspoon of baking soda. We're gonna let that blend in and then we'll add in the rest of our flour here. All right, homies, so before we continue, I'm gonna go ahead and scrape down this bowl one more time. This is what it should look like at the moment. And I am so silly, I forgot to tell you guys that of course, you're gonna need chocolate chips. National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, chocolate chip cookies. The recipe calls for about 2 cups. You can put as many or as little as you want. All right, homies, so I have scraped down my bowl, and then, like I said, I'm gonna just go ahead and add in the rest of my flour here. If you have a mean mom that doesn't like you to cook in the kitchen because you don't clean your mess, preventative measures. Start it on low, then you can go higher. All right, homies, if we did it right, this is what your dough should be looking like. And now at this point, we're gonna go ahead and add in our chocolate chips. Okay, homies, so at this point, it's a perfect time to preheat your oven at 350 degrees, and the cookies go in the oven for about 12 to 15 minutes, or until they're nice and golden brown. Like I just said, we're gonna add in our chocolate chips now, and you can either fold these in. I like to personally just dump these in here. I like to run mine with the mixer for a little bit, because it kind of crushes up the chocolate chips and you get like more pieces all over the cookie. So anyways, how you do this is up to you. I'm gonna let this happen and then I'll show you what mine look like. And what the heck, in honor of National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day, some more chocolate chips. All right, so look guys, we did it. We made chocolate chip cookie dough. Let me just scrape this all down here, and I'll show you up close what it looks like. Here is our chocolate chip cookie dough, homies. Okay, so what I normally like to do before I scoop these out into our little balls is I'm gonna put it in the fridge for about 10 minutes, then we'll scoop them out, and we can either, from that point, decide to bake all of them at once, or do what I do. I put them in a plastic bag and I put them in the freezer, and then I have cookies whenever I want them. All right, homies, so as I mentioned earlier, putting it in the fridge or the freezer, wherever you want to put it for a couple minutes to chill, completely optional. I just feel like it makes it easier to handle when I make them into balls. Hi homies, I switched cookie scoops just so I can make a couple of different sizes, and I'm gonna just keep going until I finish all my dough here. All right, homies, so I am getting to my last couple of scoops here. So what I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna take these cookie dough balls that I made, I'm gonna freeze them because it'll make them easier to handle, and put them in a freeze lock bag so that we can save them for later. And then with my remaining cookie dough here, I'm gonna make some cookies so that I can eat one on camera for you and share with my friends later. All right, homies, so my air fryer just stopped, and that means that our cookies are done. So while I let this cool down for a little bit before I eat them, I'm gonna go ahead and take my cookie dough out of the freezer, put them in a Ziploc bag, and then store them in the freezer. So if you're wondering, Joseph, what the heck do you mean? The reason why I did that is that now that these are frozen a little bit more, they're easier to pick up and just throw in here. All right, so we're getting to the last few here. Nice and easy. Just go ahead and seal this thing up. And now we have cookies to last us at least a day here at my house, or a couple of weeks maybe at your house. If you want, I would maybe put the date here so that you know when you should probably throw them away, but I guarantee if you make these and try them, there's not ever gonna be any that you're gonna throw away. All right, homies, so here is our chocolate chip cookie in celebration of National Chocolate Chip Cookie Day. To be fair, if I had made these in the oven, like I normally do, they would have fluffed up a little bit more. Either way, still good though, still good though. So the cookies have cooled down enough for me to go ahead and enjoy. It's so good. Now me personally, I like when my chocolate chip cookies are nice and fresh out of the oven. JoMaine likes them to cool down for a little bit. Thanks for hanging out with me. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. If you want to see more of me and all my crazy shenanigans, follow me online at josephpruiz on everything. And also, although he's not in this video, if you would like to follow JoMaine at Major Cosmetics on everything. If you happen to make these cookies, let me know what you think of the recipe. See you next time.